Following up on that, I want to applaud what you guys are doing in shared services. Back in the 80s, manufacturers in the commercial space did this where they can have multiple divisions. You have a technical specialty. You develop that specialty. Before, every one of the divisions would have that. They would protect it. They were jealous of it. When we took it away, created shared services, when you're doing C-130J maintenance at an Air Force base for the Navy, I applaud that. I think that's a way for the future. And I want to move over 3D printing. The Marines right now are doing a great job in their depots of doing the same sort of thing. You know, the supply chain is gone. Nobody's making the part. 3D printing, they're really gearing that up. And I would encourage the Air Force to partner with your sister services to make sure that we're at the cutting edge of that. Chief, I have a question, and I would second Senator Shaheen's comment about a classified briefing on the same topic. And Chief, you may want to take this off, but hypersonics and directed energy, I know you guys are working on that. General Hyten gave us an update earlier this year about what the Air Force is now seeing that our near-peer competitors are doing. Can you give us an update on that development, on those two areas?
Yes, sir. And probably the most important development has been a discussion that the three service secretaries have had about how we partner together on areas like hypersonics and directed energy. And so what I want to do is maybe, ma'am, turn it over to you, and then I'll follow up at the end if we like.
Okay, thank you.
Senator, the three service secretaries, we get together. We actually like each other and get together for breakfast every 2 weeks. Terrifies the staff. One of our early meetings looked at where do we have science and technology investments that are similar, and can we work together better? And one of the first ones we identified was hypersonics. We got our teams together. We rapidly developed a memorandum of understanding where we will take best technology, go fast, share results, and work together. And as a result, on hypersonics, the additional funding you allowed us to put in 17 and 18 is about $107 million in additional funding. But by using a Navy-developed warhead for the Army and putting it on an Air Force system, we're actually going to prototype a system 5 years faster and get it out there in 2021.
Is that a defensive?
It is. It's called Hacksaw. It is an offensive weapon.
Okay. With regard to the F-22 that we talked about earlier, I had a privilege to visit an advanced squadron up in Alaska. Get a plug there. That's right. And the colonel, it gave us an update about how CRs directly impact them. They had training going on. They had to interrupt it, bring them back, and they had it documented down to the cents how much it cost them. But we talked about the use of the F-22, and you mentioned it in your opening comment that, you know, we're using F-22s, our fifth gen, to chase Tu-95s around up there on the line of demarcation. And I know, Secretary, you guys are talking about a light attack aircraft, I believe, that you're developing now to take on some of these more mundane tasks and use the fifth gen for mainly training to do what you mentioned in your opening remark. Can you update us on the light attack program?
So we completed 2 experiments in the light attack, and the idea, you know, the second line of effort, the National Defense Strategy, talks about strengthening our allies and partnerships, because when it comes to global competition and war, we have allies and our adversaries generally don't, and it's a strategic advantage. So we as a service, when we looked at, you know, at from the air component standpoint, how can we leverage our ability? Because what I hear very often from my international air chiefs, especially those that are not into the 4th or 5th generation, either they can't afford it or not getting into it, but yet they have violence within their borders. And the strategy is to drive violence down to the point where it can be handled within the sovereign territory. So the light attack experiment was primarily about line of effort 2 and allies and partners. And how can we produce a commercial off-the-shelf that's a low-end system that's very affordable, that has low costs when it comes to sustainment, and that can help our allies and partners. And what we've learned in the past is that if we don't buy some, they won't. And so as we look at it internal to our Air Force, the Marines looking at this as well, this is a joint effort going forward. This is an opportunity for us to actually spread our coalition, if you will, to be able to get at the strategy and line of effort number 2. And within the Air Force, we're also looking at it to the point where exactly what you described, which is, can I now go after those lower-end missions with a tailored commercial off-the-shelf kind of product that will then free the high-end assets to focus on the training and execution and the high-end work we need to do.
Thank you.
Well, I want to